Alright, before I actually get started with this very long video I'm going to be doing, thanks to verification, I want to point out a few things about Romance the Three Kingdoms 10. There are some things I probably won't be able to replicate anymore because randomness. So, I found this weird oddity earlier. Yeah, you're going to see this. This is an old picture from earlier. I actually managed to get a natural lightning user, which is extremely rare, but it's not unheard of. And that's because of a slight oversight. When you create a character, you're able to get Arrow and Wizard at the same time. GameFAQs says you also need Geo, but you don't. It's confirmed. You don't need Geo at all to do bolts. You just need Arrow and Wizard, that's it. Nothing much about that. It does bypass the wizardry problem. Excuse me. And I thought it would be possible to get 30 skills that way, but no. But then I found this. See this whole information right here? Just to get things going a little bit there. See all this information? So, this is as close as I got to the ideal. It ain't bad when you think about it, but it could still be better. And we're gonna skip. Oh shit! Oh shit! 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 Shit. Stop it, man! Ugh. This thing is buggy. Anyway, then after this, I found this oddity. Shigzai right here surrendered to the Yellow Turbans. This was done on the 27th of June, right after my ban from a different site. I'm not opening that site up for interpretation because I don't want to get in trouble. So, Shigzai here, he's completely not bordering the Yellow Turban, yet he surrendered. The reason for this is unknown. This is honestly not supposed to happen in the game's coding, which is probably why the whole feature was scrapped in 13 to begin with. And then I found some anomalies for advanced. The force you're in also hides loyalties when it shouldn't. It is confirmed. I've done it again and again. And you can't instruct very well. I wanted to correct that out. 13 does fix the problem, and there's actually an exploit in that game. I don't have the game to prove it to you guys, but it does exist. And then I found this weird anomaly when I was playing with myself, where I gave Lubu refute. This normally would not be possible, because Lubu is so poor at doing debates. But oversights do occur, so there's definitely a lot more I need to do with this one. And then I found this, a rule break in a sense. You see, look at the map close up. That's where Lubu is. That little spot where Liju is, that Chang'an, that's where Lubu is located. Yet the game says he's attacking Puyang. That's against the rules, and this was clearly addressed in later games. So I'm glad they addressed that, but if there's going to be a ROM hack for Romance the Three Kingdoms, at least fix that problem. Give it that bit of a possibility. And then I found this anomaly that most game guides just completely ignore. While 600 fame is required for visiting, there is another arbitrary requirement. You must be at or above the fame level of the officer you're trying to visit. It was simplified in Romance of 3 13, just needing Virtue 1 to just visit an officer without any restrictions. So, I really find it strange. And then I found this anomaly after that too, where you get these absurd yearly deed numbers. Look at this. 14,847 yearly deeds? How's that even possible? Well, To be brutally honest, I think the game just keeps adding those numbers, and if it doesn't find it where to put them, it just keeps adding them up and up and up. And I don't know how high these numbers can really go. That is just the mystery I've yet to discover one day. Skipping this. And then I did this where I beat the game by nearly, almost doing nothing, which is extremely fun. So, you don't really have to do much of anything to beat the game. And it's kind of a reference to the Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing thing. I heard that trend on Mario Party. So, clearly this is a reference to that. Weird stuff. And then, my latest endeavor before the aforementioned video that I posted earlier, I'm not going to show that because the video already exists on YouTube. You can still see it. I did this, and I basically, essentially broke how China works. And it just creates problems. There's just so many truths flying around. I mean, I've really broken how the game works. Yeah. Okay. That kind of makes a lot of sense of what's been going on here. And I've been playing this game for a little bit. I mean, after 26 years of playing video games, I wasn't expecting to run into this situation. So, from my early time in 1996 to now, I've never seen anything like this before in a video game. So, moving on to 10. So here we are back in Romance of the Three Kingdoms 10. There's just a lot more to do here, and let me explain what I mean by this right now, before I really get started with this. I've discovered a lot of anomalies in the game, and behavior patterns can really be strange. Let me explain why. Oh, ooh, that was not what I'm expecting. Okay, that's the blue problem in the video. Shows I'm not perfect. And I'm a human. Okay. Let's talk about this a little more in depth. So, I will be doing two things today about the upcoming AI verification on YouTube and how this is going to affect a lot of people, but I'm also going to talk more about Romance 3 Kingdom 10. First, the age verification. I hate that. People hate it, and it's clear nobody likes age verification, and I really just think that the UK should just go, screw themselves, because they're breaking the fundamental laws of how we work. I have a life on other sites, and these sites explicitly state you're not allowed to give out sensitive information under any circumstances. That includes, but is not limited to, your ID, your credit card, selfies, that kind of stuff, technically is in violation of those rules. And I know it. On that site I got banned in 2022, again, I'm not bringing up the site's name, not trying to insinuate anybody here, but was definitely before Dragonair's death in 2024. If that could give you a little hint. If you've been up to date on this guy. I ran afoul of the rules by exposing my address at the time. And unfortunately I did the same thing on YouTube, and yeah, the Glitch 2 account got terminated, and it's gone for good. Well, there's still a little bit of it left, but nowhere what it used to be. It's still got a few of my old glitching videos, especially one where I basically broke Caesar's Palace on the Game Boy Advance. And I just ran across it. I tried to submit that to GameFAQs and it didn't work. But that's beside the point. The thing is, many people are concerned about age verification. And it's not good for anybody at all to have to give out sensitive information. And I get all these people are very worried. And experts agree too. This is not what we're supposed to be doing with AI. In fact, this is not what we're supposed to be doing at all with information like that. That kind of information is meant to stay with the person, not be exposed to potential hackers. If Google knows better, they would be keeping an eye on all these data leaks and hacking attempts. If they do this, you know these hackers will be eyeballing YouTube and Google, and that raises the chance of a data leak much more than it should. Because now these people are going to say, hey, this company wants to store sensitive information about people. Let's hack them. And that's what Google does not want to happen. But they're insinuating that's the way to go. And that's not how it works. That's not how a company is supposed to help their people. The real determinational factor is that the company needs to understand that people's personal lives are in jeopardy if their sensitive information is ever leaked. And Google claims it's after 2 months or after up to a year that they'll be considered valid. Unfortunately, that is a gray area. Even in just 2 months, a data leak is still very likely to happen. And that's where the problem kicks in. You can't just keep data on a person legally. If you keep their sensitive information for too long, they're going to get increasingly worried. And I know where all the backlash is coming from. Many people are saying, no way am I giving you my ID, or anything of that sort. I've seen the massive comments on that massive sheet. So, what I'm technically saying here is Google is not doing the right thing. And I got one big message for the United Kingdom. Get out of our lives. Essentially, your Online Safety Act is internationally illegal. It's illegal in the international eyes. And it should not be deemed as recognizable. I've given you, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, fair warning to abandon that damn law. And excuse the language, but I have no choice. Because you can't do this kind of stuff and expect to have loyal people. I've seen millions of people already complaining about this problem. And those petitions are definitely valid, and actually they got a good point. And make it matters worse, many people who use YouTube have autism. And unfortunately, it is confirmed that at least 1/3 of all people have it. Autism is a strange disease that affects the brain. And it can really screw with age identification. Some autistic people may register as way older than they're meant to be. Some way younger. It just depends on what the autism does. Even after 2025, we still don't exactly know the underlying causes of autism at all. It's very hard to tell, because autism is an umbrella term. For example, I have autism and Asperger's at the same time, which makes me extremely unstable and very resistant to change. I don't approve of this change because it can be a big hassle. And obviously, I know people are indeed literally spoofing phone numbers to try and get on YouTube's verification system. And I get why. Privacy is critical, and they don't want to give their actual phone number because of spam messages. And they have a valid reason to do it. While it is technically in violation of YouTube's rules, it isn't against the rules of the internet. And that's where the rules really become a problem. Google is trying to throw away the rule book, and the same for the United Kingdom. They're trying to throw away the fundamental building blocks that made the internet as safe as it was. Realistically, it's not about the kids. It's all of us. Many people predicted that this is basically a dystopian reality. And it is a dystopian reality in the making. Everyone was predicting a dystopian reality in the future. And this dystopian reality is, as it seems, coming true. And making matters worse, parts of America have laws implemented already, which is technically unconstitutional, but the Supreme Court ruled that it's not unconstitutional. That's hypocrisy. Not to mention, this is against the America First policy that Donald Trump has stated. Actually, now, I'm actually defending Trump on this one. If Trump defends the people's rights, Trump's popularity will literally skyrocket. Even though all the bad things he's done, if he repeals that censoring bill across the country and makes an anti-age verification bill, people are going to flock to the United States because now it's become a safe haven from censorship. YouTube will no longer have age verification for Americans, and we'll be free to do whatever we want. And privacy will be finally realized. Not to mention, that's over 300 million people that'll have freedom. And it would stave off potential rebellion a little bit longer. Probably long enough till Donald Trump gets out of office and a new, more virtuous president takes over, who can finally put America down the path it needs to go to restore power to the people. That's my assumption of what should happen. But I'm not the one who controls the president. But right now, our life is on the line. My life's on the line. Everyone is. And I know I'm going to say this, but being I was born in 1996, laws were very different back then. We didn't have as strict of age verification as we do now. So, essentially though, what happened that made this the way it is? Why did America fall down this path? Why did America do this in the first place? Well, it's due to one of those primary cases that we would really have to look into. And it actually goes a lot deeper than we once thought. If anyone remembers what happened in the 1940s, especially when it came to one particular country, actually two particular countries in particular, it probably would paint a picture of how the world is going to try to evolve again. And I'm not bringing the name of that country because it is technically against the law to even say that word. I'll just say evil Germany. But in all honesty, what do I mean by this? Well, we're gonna see right now. Well, what I'm really saying here is, well, 80 years ago, well actually over 100 years ago, actually now officially, when Russia suffered its communist takeover and became the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union cracked down on any attempts to suppress the freedom of speech. And that makes complete sense, because communists don't want their, regime falling. But communism is as close to, authoritarian as you can get without going full on. Basically, an essential dictatorship. That's what North Korea is, basically, in the most plain sense. In fact, North Korea is in a situation like as a fascist-like communist dictatorship. Essentially, the head of state has so much power that they basically are a fascist in their own right. And we already know that, the Kim family is not very popular, and it's not very popular across the globe. I've seen all the videos about it. Ways to escape North Korea, people talking about North Korea's inevitable demise, its population dwindling away. I mean, there's a lot of facts rooted in this. North Korea won't last. In fact, any dystopian nightmare is not permanent. It will eventually come to grasp. Either the people just leave the country enough that it just no longer needs to sustain itself, or the country completely falls in and never comes back from any sort of recovery. An irrecoverable situation. That's what inevitably led to the Soviet Union's downfall. When they opened up free speech, they've effectively dropped the country from being a communist dictatorship and reverted it back to a republic. Because the people needed information, and when they see the truth about something, they react in a way that we expect, going against the country's rules and gaining their freedom back by any means necessary. That's basically the natural human instinct. They want their freedom. And I'm not even done talking about it. Actually, I might actually cut the romance streak extension edits out for this particular video. So, yeah, it's definitely a large reason why many people don't like it. When you basically restrict freedom, you're basically restricting free press, you're restricting journalism, you're restricting everything that people depend on for their information. So, essentially what this means is, if Google thinks that something will be damaging to itself, they can effectively filter it out with safe search, force every user to have safe search on them, and they won't be able to get the information they need to know the truth. The truth will be revealed, and Google will be found out. In fact, companies like Activision have also suffered this problem too. Ubisoft and many other companies, they're making bad decisions because of changing politics and geographic projections. The demographics are changing. But see, I never stopped playing video games from my time in 1999, 26 years ago. Now, judging by my time I've been playing video games, all you people watching this video wouldn't need to understand that I was playing video games for 26 years. But the AI, YouTube's, algorithm would ignore my time I started playing. Because most people can't play if they're younger than 3. So judging by this, with this video's release date, you would assume that when this video is released, I'd be 29. But according to YouTube's AI algorithm, it can get things horribly wrong. And when you think about it on paper, it kind of makes sense. YouTube's AI is pretty weak. I love playing video games because, well, I've played it for so long now that I've actually developed a knack for something I never thought was even possible. I could actually decode a video game's coding and more just by simply playing the games. That's one of my superpowers, as being autistic and heavily focused on science. In terms of my mental age, it's way higher than what it's meant to be. Physically, I'm 29, but mentally, it's possible that my brain's technical capabilities will push my mental age to 50, almost double my age. With such a high IQ, I mean, I can make deductions on video games with relatively good, accuracy. Where most players usually have trouble doing it, and having a hard time figuring out just multiple games at once. Most players have a specialty. I am a jack of all trades. Very good at pretty much any game. Shut up. I'm making a video. Anyway, ignoring those people because they don't care. I just like this though. And there is one more thing I want to talk about real quick. Well, I wanted to talk about this a little more in depth. But before I go a little further, I want to tell you something more. There is a bit of an understandable case here, and it makes a little sense to talk about it. The biggest problem is the AI age verification is bugged. And its bugginess can be attributed to many problems. YouTube's AI algorithms mess up big time when it comes to determining which videos are good and bad. It can't get it right. Not even half the time. And many people confirmed it. And some people even suggest that YouTube itself is composed of AIs. Pretty strong evidence that Google has effectively lost control of YouTube. That does seem like a good accusation. But there's no proof of it. And when you have no proof, there's no way to understand it. So essentially, our freedom's on the line here. I've already signed one petition to try and stop Google's, hegemony. And I'm not sure I'll say it, but I am starting to de-Google my life a little bit. As I've already stated in some of my posts, I have partially de-Googled, trying to break off Google. And I would suggest everyone to try and do it too. I just hope it can be done in time though. I'm RC the First, and I'm signing off. Cheers.